up, boys?
So we're recording. All right, this is where we have to do our shameless. We can't afford a voiceover guy, so
Cheers.
Everybody, welcome to Inside the Ropes. All right, there you go. That's it.
ITR episode 4. Episode 4.
I don't know if you can hear that or not.
We're on episode 4. It's
crazy. Yeah. Cheers. Did I miss the cheers?
You missed the cheers. One more time.
I'll do it again. See, I was doing
Michigan beer,
double duty with the rolls.
All right, what we got going on today, boys?
All right. First order of business for me, after listening to the 3 episodes about 17 times each, I realized something very important. I talk way too much.
You talk way too much?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're just
Nobody wants to listen to me anymore.
We're just used to it, Johnny G. So
it was nothing new for us.
It's
crazy.
So we pushed this episode up till Saturday night, all because what?
Oh, don't give it away. But we have a big. Are you talking about because of our guest?
No, I was talking about because we were supposed to be up in Ann Arbor signing a lease with some slumlord who never called and never showed, and then we got it moved to yesterday or tomorrow, Sunday, and we just found out it was canceled. So we moved all this around just for nothing.
All that.
Hey, so is this with the house where she had the interview with the girls that already lived there?
Yeah.
So she passed the interview.
Passed the interview. Yep, passed the interview, and yeah. Great. I think I told you, great spot on campus, right? Literally a block from the ice arena, like a block and a half from the intramural.
Tell all the listeners which campus.
This is the A Squared, Ann Arbor, University of Michigan.
There you go. Go blue.
Yep. Very cool. Very cool.
Hey, playing my role of always speaking too much. I do have a couple orders of business to take care of. Last time I started off by asking, do you notice what I'm wearing? And do you notice what I'm wearing tonight?
You're wearing the appropriate Marshal uniform versus your other uniform.
I know. I mean, like, what a huge failure on my part. I have to apologize to all the listeners last time. And listening to the episode, it was actually pretty funny. Driving down the road and listening to Smith, like I could just see the wheels turning or hear the wheels turning. Like he's sitting there in the background of the banter. He's going like, God, I thought it was blue. I swear to God, it was blue. But I don't know. He's question it. And I had 2022 on there. And I was like, no, man, this is the gray 2022 jacket. Well, it was after the episode that the light bulb went on. And I realized, I was wrong. Smith was right. And although it was a 22 jacket, it was from the Pro-Am event, not from the Marshalling event. So huge failure on my part.
You going to remind us how well you did in the Pro-Am that year?
I did bring that on episode 3 too. Wasn't it episode 3? I think, brought the trophy. And I think we won it. We were champions.
I do think so. I think the year before or the 2 years before is when we got the gray. So they must have just repurposed the same gear, but they're like, we're just going to give it out for the golfers this year. So
I know. Yeah. I looked like 10 times. I'm like, okay, my eyes are not deceiving me. It's 2022. But again, I think it was because it was from the Pro-Am event, which in that Pro-Am event from 2022, I did not win. In fact, I played terrible. But it was last year, Aaron, that we won with David Toms.
Last year.
So, just want to clear that up because I'm sure not only Smith, but many of the listeners and viewers around the world were confused and questioning my integrity. Yeah. As I try to pass that off as the Marshal jacket. Yeah. So my bad.
Nice. I'm glad you were able to admit your wrongs there, Johnny. That
way to come clean.
It takes a big man to admit their wrongs, and I am not a big man, but I still found a way.
I'll drink to that.
Hey, we're getting closer to the tournament. I've been watching the tour, PGA Tour Champions.
Yeah, it was on today.
And did you watch the Did you watch the Mitsubishi Electric Classic today?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean
that's Duluth, Georgia, right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, just north of Atlanta. And Paul Broadhurst is now in the lead. This is the second week in a row. Paul Broadhurst is on a roll, man.
He's coming after Alker.
Yeah. Well, okay. So Alker, that's another interesting point. Did you look over the field for the KitchenAid Senior PGA Championship?
I did.
Did you notice anybody missing?
Alker.
Alker was missing from the list.
Yeah, but he's the reigning champ from last year, right?
I know, but he wasn't listed on the official list.
I know. I did notice
ask
that.
Kelsey about this.
I think it's
Is the full field announced?
It is. It was just released.
Oh, the full field. Oh, okay.
And Alker was not on the list. He is the defending champion at Harbor Shore. So we need to add that to our list of things to talk to Kelsey about.
Yeah, let's ask her. Now, I did get an email from the tournament director, Brandon. So Brandon Haney, I got an email from him. We're going to try to get him on at some point, but I talked to him actually last week and was asking him about, remember how we were telling the story of Hideki or whatever, whoever it was hitting off the end of Harbor Shores. So I was the returning champion. They have all these kinds of different things. And so I was asking him, like, hey, do we have anything planned for the returning champion from last year? In the community, are there going to be any events? And he said, no, there's nothing planned. And he didn't say because he's not playing. He specifically said it's because his schedule is crazy. They couldn't work anything out. So there's a little bit of smoke there. So there might be some fire. I mean, he's not on the list, and he is suspiciously missing from the list. But he's also not playing for any community events before
not playing any. Interesting. Okay.
Yep. Let me throw a little nugget at you guys. That's a little side. This isn't a tip, but a little. I heard this tonight. A rumor. We'll call it a rumor. Talking about returning champs. Okay. Rumor has it that the returning champ always stays at the little hotel condos that are attached to Mark III restaurant. Have you guys heard that rumor before?
No, that's just
and lots of the golfers end up having some drinks and food there. So I'm just throwing it out there. And then maybe
not every returning champ. It's
I'm not saying.
Why am I drawing a blank right now? What's his name? Who was returning for he was a 2021 champ who was the returning champ for 2022. Chapman?
No, Chapman was back in 2012.
This can only be confirmed.
Maybe it's Roger Chapman in general then, because every year Roger Chapman always stays at that little hotel next to Mark III.
And he eats at Grandmere Inn. He's got a table at the Grandmere Inn.
Yeah.
Yep. I've eaten actually at Roger Chapman's table at Grandmere Inn. Yeah, it's got a little picture of him with the whole.
He invited me back to his room one time too.
Maybe take some lake perch back to the room and.
Okay, so we went from like he eats there to. I thought you were going to say you actually sat at his table with him, but you're just saying at the table that he dined at.
I mean, his picture was there, so that kind of counts, right?
No,
he was.
You completely led us astray on that one.
I like Smith's story way better. I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. Going back to the just a little walk across the parking lot to the.
Yeah.
Can we keep it on focused here on the PGA Tour Champions?
Okay.
For a minute? All right. I got a couple other points I want to make up. So I'm going to make up. No, they're actually true. Number one, did you see the how Bernie had torn his Achilles heel?
No.
Yeah.
Longer?
So Bernard Longer tore his Achilles heel a few months ago, and he's kind of on the Aaron Rodgers path to try to get that thing healed up so he can play. You know how he tore it? Playing pickleball. No joke.
See, nothing good comes out of
pickleball. Is so much fun. But anyway, so let's hope Bernie's all healed up for the tournament.
When did that injury happen?
Podcast at some point, he can tell us about his recovery time and. But yeah, so he's on the road to recovery, hopefully back in time for the tournament. As I mentioned before, Broadhurst is leading this tournament, and he won last week in Dallas. So Broadhurst is kind of on this bit of a streak right now. And Alker, I just watched it. It was just a few minutes ago. Alker had an opportunity to tie him for the lead in the second round, and he put it in the water on his second shot, or sorry, his third shot into 18, and ended up with one over. So now he's 8 under, whereas Broadhurst is 10 under right now. So it's Broadhurst is the pick to click right now, in my opinion.
So is Broadhurst our guy? Like if we had one pick for the Marshal Shack, who would it be for this year?
Ooh,
Broadhurst is hot.
He's playing great right now. Yeah, I mean, Alker, if he, the mysterious man, if he comes back, he'd be a great one to talk about. But Broadhurst is kind of the pick to click right now. He's doing great.
Can I shoot a little higher than that? I think we can aim a little higher, guys.
Okay.
Right? I think we try to get some PGA.
Okay, Mr. Helper. What do we got?
think we try to get some PGA folks from the volunteer team over. That is, I think, where the ticket is.
We can't possibly do that, Ryan. Nobody would do that.
That would be huge. They sound like I feel like they would be more fun than the golfers.
I think we've got, again, don't want to give too much away, but our special guest may give us some insight to that. And I think we can make some headway there as far as getting some official PGA crew over to the Marshal Shack, which reminds me, I was working on the Marshal Shack schedule. I pulled up the schedule from 2022. We were talking about it a little bit on one of the previous episodes.
Month away. Yeah.
So I pulled it up, and it's like day one, Thursday is when we mark the official opening of the Marshal Shack, and then that night is the stag night we were talking about. So that's the stag night. That's the guys. It's the whole crew, and we will get our bets in for the tournament. Friday is the Marshal Mixer, so that's friends and family. It's the patio party, open to all. Don't forget, I mean, we're still on the late schedule because it's before the cut, so we don't get done till like 8 o'clock.
Yeah,
and then Saturday is what's considered the Marshal Shack Fest. That's what was in the right last time. We called that Marshal Shack Fest, which is essentially it's open invite. And I mean, we know here, but like going to reveal for all of our viewers and listeners around the world, this year's Shack Fest, we actually have a live band performing at the Marshal Shack.
We do. Yeah.
So it's going to be a huge draw. Like, get your tickets now. Actually, it's open invite. So
yeah, we got a little rowdy last year, or 2 years ago, if I recall.
And that was without a live band.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine the shenanigans that are going to happen with a live band in the back of the Marshal Shack.
I might
Saturday of the tournament.
I might even call it tomfoolery.
I can't wait. I'm like looking out the basement right now to the Marshal Shack patio, the bonfire pit patio, and I'm trying to figure out, Aaron, like where we're going to set the band up, because of course he won't say it himself, but Aaron is one of the lead performers in the live band that's going to be here. And I think I've got an idea. I think it's going to be a good setup to where we're going to have elevated kind of viewing areas, because we'll have the lower level and around the bonfire pit. I think we're going to get some of those tabletop round tables, and then we'll have the patio up top. And I think it's going to be a packed house.
Love it. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Hey, speaking of the Marshal Shack, I do have a question for you, Johnny, just to follow up from our previous episode.
Oh, yeah.
We had a bit of a debate on the distance from the Marshal Shack to hole number 9 green. I know we had a little bit of a debate. Ryan pulled up the map. We talked about it. What's the final word on this? What's our distance from the Marshal Shack alternate tee box?
So tee box, hold on real quick, for the listeners. Tee box to green, right? Dog leg left, right? Tee box to green is how many yards?
The official scorecard is 575 yards from the championship tee.
Okay, very nice. And so then the thought was that the Marshal Shack is closer.
It is.
That's the thought, huh?
That was the thought.
What's the official yardage? And you went as the crow flies, or you went down the path?
So what's interesting is, okay, so not that I really even thought about it after the last episode, but I did, end up soliciting some help from some GPS. Thank you to the Under Armour app to let me walk out and through the woods to check all the measurements. I was, like I said, didn't really think about it much, but I was out on the course today, and no kidding, had a GPS tracker with me. As a crow flies, because it's a dog leg left, Smitty, right? Like from the tee box to green, if you cut the corner, which you can't play it that way,
right.
Instead of 575 yards, it might be 480. I don't know.
Right.
And then same thing from here, as I'll show you in a second.
Yeah, I guess you'd have to dog leg it still from
it's a little bit more of a straight shot, but so the way I measured it was, how do the pros play it? And I found that sort of sweet spot landing area, and you know what? I might just have the opportunity I might have just put together something to show everybody.
Ooh,
can you see my screen?
Visuals. Oh, I like it.
All right, so
I love it.
yeah, so here's hole number 9, the back tee. And like I said, if you go as a crow flies, Smith, it's, you're going through no man's land here. That's not even possible.
Yeah.
So what do the pros do? They try to hit over that bunker on the right, as we were talking about last time, and hit it into this nice little sweet spot here, the light blue. And that measured out, I found a spot that measured out 280 yards, which makes a lot of sense because the guys are either backing off a drive a little bit, because if they go left, they're in big trouble if they hit driver, right? Or they're hitting like a big, like 3-wood or something to about 280 yards. A lot of guys hit an easy 2 to here, right?
Yep.
Or easy 2 or 3-wood.
Yeah, because they can't reach the green from anywhere near there. So
you remember we told that story of Longer right here by the cart path.
Mm-hmm.
That's getting close to 300 yards at the cart path, which is basically saying, hey, I'm going to bring out my driver and hope that I don't. Yeah, I hope that I can thread this needle here, because that gets pretty narrow.
Narrow little shoot through there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But so there were a few sprinkler markers out here that I was able to triangulate around, and I put a little mark on the fairway. And so I marched out from the Marshal Shack through the woods here, and then across this kind of open area, and then through this little corner of woods. I'm sure the neighbors are wondering why the hell I was crawling through the woods. And then across the road, and then out here and put like a little, and I used one of my invisible fence markers to mark a spot. And it was 240 yards from the fire pit.
There you go.
And then from that same spot, I actually had to back off because these guys were playing the hole. So I backed off. They were way back here anyways. And once they passed, I then used the GPS tracker and I walked directly back to here and climbed up that hill.
You did not. You climbed up the dune, straight up the dune.
Climbed up the dune
Nice.
to get a legit
This
reading.
is some like hands-on research. I like it.
So there you go. It's 280 yards from the tee to that spot. And by the way, from this spot, it's close to 300 yards in. Obviously, it's a 575-yard shot. So it's basically 300 yards in, which makes a ton of sense. The guys that get past here a little bit are waiting, and then they try to approach it. Depending on the wind, they can hit a second shot close to 300.
Put it by those traps there.
So I've got a brilliant idea. If we go, I don't know if I can zoom in here, but basically there's this little trail right here on the other side of these little woods. There's a nice little opening. So instead of 240 yards, it's maybe 200 yards out to here. And I say we hit some balls.
Johnny, you took the idea right out of my mouth. I even think maybe we just move to the side of your house a little bit and maybe try to do the same thing. I kind of want to get the distance feel, right? I want to get the feel for that full 240.
Yep, we can figure that out. We can either go like over here, if I were to,
Yeah.
let's say, zoom in 150, you know, I might even need to do more, 200. Like you're saying, like, hey, we might be able to.
Yeah, get to the side of your house over there, maybe kind of where the path starts a little bit, right? Because I think you probably have clearance from there then, right?
Exactly.
I like it. John, I have one more question for you. I mean,
so it'll be fun. I
have,
think we can have a great competition with the guys.
I like it. Johnny,
Well,
we have a lot, real quick, we have a lot of listeners. Are you nervous about sharing your home location with all of our global listeners that might end up just showing up at your groupies might show up at your house now?
Hey, you know what? I expected it anyways. They find a way. They find a way. Even without showing the map, I think what they do is they look up who are these hosts of this Inside the Ropes, and then every one of us are at risk of the groupies showing up at our house. So be ready, Smith. They all want some of Smith's tips.
Yeah, they do.
We need to start with Steve Stricker and see our 2023 Senior PGA Champion if he will come and tee one off of the back of the Marshal Shack.
That's where I gotta work with Brandon and see.
I mean, if there's no other events, he's got some time on his hands.
Let's play hole number 9 from the Marshal Shack.
Yeah. Jeez. Alternate tee location.
Might be a par 4. It's an easier hole. Par 4 from there.
It kind of becomes a par 4. Yeah.
It's a long par 4.
We just changed the whole dynamic of the course. I love it.
It's awesome though. It's actually like I said, there is a clearing and an opening. We could definitely make some tee shots from over here.
Good question, Aaron. Good follow up on that one. I like that. Hey,
have you guys been over to the course lately? Have you guys done a little recon? How things are coming together?
Does drinking over at North Pier count?
It does, yeah.
And I've done a lot of research then. Yeah,
you're right off of 14. That counts.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Did you see the grandstands being put up?
Saw them, man. That's the only spot I saw them getting put up, though. Just over there. Didn't seem like I saw anything else, but
yeah, they're a little slow on 18. At least last time.
18's going up right now.
Is it going up now? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. They must have just started that then.
They started it last weekend.
Okay. All right.
But they started with the Makers Trail and the at 17, and I think it's some sort of Champions tent or whatever there. Those were starting to go up first, and then the VIP tents over by 14. Those were like that started, and then they went with the bleachers at 16. Because you remember how we used to have a KitchenAid tent there? Now it's just regular bleachers. And then they started putting up the KitchenAid like hole number 18 thing and plus the bleachers there. Now here's what I'm interested in seeing what pans out next is I did my research, but I didn't bring the notes. I went back and remember I was telling you how they moved a bunch of stuff from over by the first tee, but over by the practice area to the.
That's always a great spot, though.
But they moved it over to the north here. I think maybe I wrote it down. So what they did is, so the location of the championship courtyard and the KitchenAid Fairway Club and the volunteer hospitality, all of that is by North Pier.
Wow.
Right?
Is there a parking lot over there maybe or on the road or something?
No, like the let's see, championship court. Oh yeah, championship courtyard, the KitchenAid Fairway Club, and the volunteer hospitality. Yeah, they're all going to be in that big parking lot.
Okay. Right in front of the North Pier, like storage building or something they have over there. Is that what that is?
Yeah, exactly. You got it. So there was a rendering in one of the things that we got sent in an email. So what that means is what's left back at the practice area is it's still volunteer check-in. I really don't know what that means. Maybe we can ask our guest about like where we go to get credentials. I think we have some info on that. But volunteer check-in and the admissions gate is still over there. So they still have an admissions gate over there, but they're not going to have all that experience stuff. It's going to be over by North Pier. And I'm sure that was done by design.
Yeah.
Did they move the golf cart impound lot? Is it still next to the dumpsters behind the tech center? I'm just curious. Like I want to make sure I know where to get our golf cart once it gets impounded.
Let's make sure we ask our special guest.
Okay. Side note, I mean, having that 10 over there is a little closer to the Marshal Shack, a little easier to get to, I think, right? You can just kind of pop right down a couple turns and you're there.
It is technically further, but it's easier to get to.
Easier to get to, yeah. That's what I mean.
Because you don't have to, like, to get to the other area, you had to cut through the freaking tournament. I mean, you had to go by hole number 1, the practice area, all that stuff. Yeah. This way, you can take the back road over towards North Pier.
And you had to cross over the M139, right?
Right.
Or whatever.
So now we can go by hole number 9, go under the bridge.
Yeah. Nice.
Yep. Longer, but smoother, easier.
Nice.
Sure.
All right. Hey, we're only 2 tournaments away. Like, there's 2 tournaments standing between us and the KitchenAid Senior PGA Championship. I mean, it's coming up. We got to be ready as like a group of marshals. We need to start our calisthenics. We need to like start practicing. Maybe
I know I need to send some routines out to the guys to make sure they're all getting in shape.
Yeah. Yep. Hold on.
Yep.
Everybody
get your.
Got it.
Okay. All right. Good.
So we've got we still have a lot of shenanigans to get to, but just heads up, a little programming note. I'm going to send our special guest a text.
Oh yeah.
To let her know she can jump on anytime.
Can we hit something real quick too? We were just talking before.
Okay, let's do that. All right. I didn't hit send yet.
We were talking about getting ready for the tournament. And I think last time we gave a rendering of maybe the Marshall patch this year. And we've drastically overhauled it and changed it.
We sure have.
And I also, nice lead in just thinking about the Marshal Shack. I think you've got your poster kind of ready to go as well, like your banner, I mean. So I thought, let me do a quick share here as well, real quick, on the updated Hole 9 Marshall patch.
And for all the viewers and listeners out there, Smeef the Beef, explain the evolution of the badge.
Well, really, just the first time we did it was last time, 2 years ago. And for whatever reason, we just took a bunch of pictures and fun things from the shenanigans for the last few years and kind of turned it into the patch, right? Which I think we showed it in one.
Did you show? Maybe we should show it before and after.
I don't think I have the patch handily pulled up, but I'd have to go get it off the wall. But nonetheless, right? It looked a little bit more like a police badge, right? But it had a reflection of us, one of us, our shadows, marshaling up, and it was a shadow, right? It was, anyway, good looking, right? We just said maybe we simplified a little bit this year, and maybe we make, we're Hole 9. How do we make it stand out a little bit more? So I guess I'll just kind of say that, right, and lead in. So these are official.
Okay, so before you do that, I will pull up. I have the last badge.
The last patch handy.
I thought I did. Let's see, where is it at? Here it is.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, hey, good looking still, right? Has a good look, right? Hole 9, you got one of us marshaling up, but that's our shadow. So whatever.
That's a real shadow.
It's a real shadow. Yep. Real shadow we had of someone marshaling up that we turned
police badge.
Yeah, kind of made it feel official. We're marshals, right? I mean, hey, kind of fit with the theme. So it looked good, right? We had it on our shirts and all that, and it looked good. So this year, and again, nice little lead in here as well, right? for the banner, but we simplified it again, a little bit of a slim down feel and look. Let me share this, and this is the actual rendering of what it will look like. So there you go. That is the Hole 9.
Wow.
With the Marshall secret handshake symbol.
Yeah.
Marshall.
A good ad, yep. A good ad. The M, a good ad to sneak in the middle there a little bit for a little extra code language that no one really knows about but us. But anyway, so it looks pretty cool. So just
it looks like an N with a floating pinky, but
okay. Yeah, it does. It's hard to tell, but that's a legit picture we actually took. I could have, I guess, modeled.
You did from a real picture? That's awesome.
That's based off a real picture. So so there you go. So that's those are on order. Again, we'll have them in, I think, May 10th, and be able to hand out to the fellow Marshal Shack marshals.
So those patches will show up on in a few different ways. They'll show up on our shoulders. It'll show up I'm sure, on signage around the house, maybe wristbands, whatever it might be.
Tattoos.
Tattoos.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah, good idea, Aaron.
And so Smith shared that tip with me earlier, and so I incorporated that into a update on the banner.
Sharp.
So there we go.
Looking good. Ooh, and that tagline feels
Right, PGA. I like that. That's fantastic.
So there you go. There's a lot going on here. That all has purpose.
Marshal headquarters. I like that.
So yeah, exactly. Of course, we've got our Marshal Shack in the year 2024 representing this year's. This is our official logo essentially for this year, as Smith just shared.
Looking good.
Got the picture of our crew walking off hole 9 at the end of the tournament a few years ago. Incorporated this little flag over here. Now you can't see it in this picture, but I did end up superimposing the KitchenAid 2024 onto that flag. And of course,
I mean, the flag looks so realistic. I
thought it was real. Yeah,
I know. It's a 2024 flag or 2024 logo on a flag where I superimposed a hole number 9 over the 18 because I couldn't find it. So anyway, so now we got it kind of looks like the green could possibly be here and the guys are walking off. And then bringing in an amazing photo from last year, the distinguished gentleman. So of course it's the distinguished Marshal's headquarters is the Marshal Shack. So I thought that picture went well with that.
Yeah.
And then, playing off of Tiger's, or not Tiger's, but Nike's salute to Tiger on the last advertisement they had. Smith shared on the first episode where Nike's ad read, "It was a hell of a ride, Tiger." So considering the fact that this is the last year for the KitchenAid Senior PGA at Harbor Shores, I figured let's roll that in. It was a hell of a ride, PGA.
Love it. That's great. That's a great way.
That will be presented proudly at the Marshal Shack for this year's festivities.
There you go.
All right.
Yeah, good. Got that. Just wanted to sneak that in here. A little preview for our listeners.
Hey,
and by the
John,
way, I just
give a little intro on our special guest.
Yeah,
give a little intro on our special guest. We've got somebody that's going to be joining us here in a second.
Yeah, she's going to jump on any second, and don't know if the audio video will work right away. So let's get in front of that and some lessons learned from last time when the knuckleheads from Chicago, Kelvin in particular, couldn't figure that out. But we're proud to announce that we have Kelsey join. Oh, and there she is.
Hello.
As a matter of fact.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hi.
we're just giving a little preview intro that we've gone big time now. We've gone big time. We've got Kelsey from the PGA joining us. And Kelsey, by the way,
right. Welcome, Kelsey. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. This
Excited.
is awesome.
We have so many questions.
Oh boy. If your email indicated anything, yes, you do. I'm prepared. I'm ready.
That was just the first half of the questions.
I feel like though she's going to come back to us and be like, if you would have read all the communications that we sent to you, you would have had all of the answers to all of your questions. But she's
probably volunteer related.
Well, but the first question actually, and by the way, first time, long time, so first time actually meeting, long time fan.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm John, by the way.
Hi, John.
And there's Aaron and Ryan Smith, of course.
Awesome.
A couple legends from the Marshal Shack.
Couple legends.
Yeah, perfect.
But for all of our listeners and viewers around the world, we want to announce the fact that we've gone big time. We actually have somebody from the PGA staff with us for the championship. So Kelsey, if you don't mind, maybe a quick introduction and tell us a little bit about your like involvement with the PGA and what you're doing right now.
Sure, absolutely. My name's Kelsey Cheyne. I'm the volunteer operations manager for the 84th KitchenAid Senior PGA Championship. I have been with PGA for almost 2 years now. So I've done a few championships, but prior to that, so I've lived in Southwest Michigan for 10 years. And prior to that, I worked for the Inn at Harbor Shores, which is the hotel located on the Harbor Shores Resorts, if you're familiar with that. And so that's kind of how I got connected with the PGA of America, with staff, stayed connected with them. And when their volunteer manager from 22 left and the position was open, I kind of jumped on it, and it really worked out. And it's been honestly one of the best jobs I've ever had. I absolutely love it. So what my job entails is only very specifically for the 84th KitchenAid Senior PGA Championship here at Harbor Shores, which is unfortunately the last one at Harbor Shores for the foreseeable future. I always put that out there, for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, that's good.
And my role entails recruiting all 1,100 volunteers needed for this particular championship, and then all operations involved in that. So that the 1,100 volunteers that I talk about, they are spread throughout. We have 27 different committees, and that's not including breaking out our marshals by each hole. So if you do that, obviously that adds 18 more. I'm terrible with math, so I'm not even going to attempt to say how many committees that is. But each hole is a different number of volunteers. Plus we've got accessibility shuttles, all the way to volunteer services, from anything to do with our players, and anything that a volunteer touches falls on my desk. So caddy hospitality, ordering caddy towels, even all the way down to those types of things. A big one right now.
Do you have any assistance on that, or like you seriously have to take care of that kind of detail?
I seriously have to take on that kind of detail. Yeah.
There you go.
Are the caddies like high maintenance? You know, are they like, I need green M&Ms, only green M&Ms in the
No.
Oh, yeah.
No, caddies aren't that high maintenance. I mean, it depends on which ones you're talking about, right? Like the ones that have been caddies for the big names for years, they can be a little high maintenance, but most of the caddies are like pretty cool and kind of disgusting. But
what do you mean kind of disgusting?
They don't really leave. They leave messes everywhere they go.
Nice.
But we love our caddies and we love our players, even when they leave a mess.
Oh yes.
So Kelsey, maybe I misunderstood. So you've been with the PGA for the last 2 years. You said, kind of coming out of 2022.
Yep.
Do you rotate around then, or maybe I misunderstood? Do you rotate around? Do you support other tournaments or other locations, or maybe I didn't follow what you said?
No, that's a great question, because not a lot of people know this. So every championship that the PGA of America puts on, which is the seniors, the women's, the PGA Championship, and then Ryder Cup. So there's 4 big ones that the PGA of America runs, and each one is on a 2-year cycle. So our staff that is designated for that championship is hired 2 years in advance and starts the planning process.
Wow.
And those staff members are typically on site already 2 years prior to the championship. So like our Ryder Cup team, yeah. And that's just because of the sheer amount of operational things that have to happen so far out. I mean, you're talking getting like even just down to the fencing and like where we're getting our wind screening from, and laying out the course, all of that stuff. So there's lots of things that happen over 2 years in advance. Obviously, like things kind of hit the fan now. We're like 30 days out, so it gets pretty intense.
Yeah, so it goes from planning to execution. So it's like, correct. Did all the planning work, or is there going to be like mad scramble?
Exactly. Yeah, and that's why we do it 2 years in advance, so that we are overly planned.
So literally, you for the last 2 years have been working on this tournament that's coming up.
Yes. Yeah, I did go down. So in 23, when the championships do come around, the supportive staff, so like the 24 staff will travel to the 23 championships. So like seniors to seniors, women's to women's, and we play a supportive role, and we do help on site. At least it depends on which role you're in. I was down in Frisco for about, I think it ended up being 12 days. in advance and then through the championship. So it's a lot of fun.
I was
Are
down
there any
there.
are there any crazy stories from that 2023 that you can share? Like any like volunteers got out of control or something that would be hilarious to hear. Come on, there's got to be something.
What's your best story? Yeah, that's what I want.
Anybody get a golf cart impounded? I mean, any of that kind of stuff?
So not impounded, but we for our chairs, so our leadership chairs, that like our chairs are committee chairs, and they basically are the ones. So it's like a captain for each of the committees. We end up having we call it an on-site tour with them 2 weeks in advance. Ours is actually coming up on Monday. Monday the 6th is when all of our chairs will be on site. And we get them out on golf carts. We take them out on the course and we say, look at how great this is. Like, here's the build. Here's where your volunteers are going to be. It's a chance for them to get out on course before all of the sheer craziness happens, right? So in Frisco, we were down there and we were doing our tour. And they all said that they had driven golf carts before. If you have been to the new home of the PGA of America, it was all like just finished being built right before the championship happened in 23. So we have these beautiful like fountains that have this just beautiful stonework around them.
Is that right? Is that where it was?
Say that again.
What's it called? Field Ranch East? Is that the?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Field Ranch.
And the PGA headquarters is there too.
Yeah.
It's like they call it the dance floor, but there's like a putting green. Around the putting green is like this retail. Top Golf is there. There's like a bunch of different things, and then the Omni Hotel has their resort on one end. Our hotel or our headquarters is on the other. I mean, it's huge. It's huge. And so one of our chairs drove their cart directly into the beautiful stonework that just got finished with. So that was
one of the chairs. At least it wasn't one of the support staff where you had to explain yourself.
That's true. And we are insured for things like this, but that was a pretty pricey seat.
It's just not only was it probably pretty pricey, but the fact that it was probably just completed.
Yeah.
Like all that stonework, because it's brand new, like you said.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite location? It doesn't. I envision your role traveled every week, so it sounds like you don't do that. But do you have a favorite location you've been to tied to with the PGA?
Frisco was pretty cool, mainly because that's just like our new home. But prior to that, I went down to New Mexico, Albuquerque, for the PPC, which is the Professional PGA Championship, and that one holds a place in my heart. I really did love that. The course was amazing. We had actually played on 2 different courses that were about 5 minutes away, just because we had so many pros playing. But it's just a lot of fun. The PPC is on a much smaller scale, but it's just as equally important because the top 35 plus ties end up going and playing at the PGA Championship. So it's a chance for our members to play in a professional championship.
That's cool.
That's cool. I've never been to Albuquerque. You guys been to Albuquerque?
Never.
I'm all in. I'm all in.
Highly recommend. They also do a huge like hot air balloon festival. It's huge. Yeah, you should Google it because I'm planning on going down for that as soon as I can.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, let's maybe turn the page to this upcoming tournament. What kind of words of wisdom do you have for some of the potential volunteers that are going to be coming out? Now, hole 9, you don't have to worry about
a tight ship. You know,
we run a tight ship on hole number 9. We're very experienced marshals, but they're in the tournament every year. You get some newbies that come in. What kind of words of advice do you have for the newbies?
My biggest thing is just have fun. It's an amazing, once you get on course, the buzz and the adrenaline that you get from just being out there. I mean, you guys know it's irreplaceable. I can't even describe it to like when I try to tell people why they should volunteer. I just have fun. It's an amazing championship. The fact that this area, that the Southwest Michigan area has a huge championship like this is amazing to begin with. And then it's a championship. It's a golf tournament, essentially, right? Like it's important to so many people, but at the end of the day, it's just a golf tournament, which I know probably doesn't sound very nice, I guess I would say, because it is very important and it means a lot to a lot of people, but it's it's so important to have fun.
To interpret what you're saying, right? Which is just to have fun. Your point of like, it's just a golf tournament isn't to like knock down the championship. It's more of like the fact that as a volunteer, when you get out there, like, hey, you're lucky to have this kind of an amazing event in our area. So soak it all in.
Yeah.
Soak it all in and have, I mean, like you said, that's what we do. We're like, let's soak it in. Let's have a blast.
Yeah.
You get what's fun, players.
What's fun is at the end of the day, when you go back home and it's on ESPN or it's on, right. Or you can watch it on, you're like, oh my God, you saw that, right? So anyway, that's kind of the cool thing that I always connect with. Right. It's fun to think, wow, this is, this is televised and lots of people watching this. So it's cool.
And that one instance that it pans to hole 9 and you see yourself like,
oh my gosh,
from the distance, you're like,
we need to talk to the TV folks though, because they never get the Marshals in there.
They never zoom in on the Marshals for some reason. I don't know.
Do more of that.
That's a big deal, especially
like there's something else going on. But
yeah.
Marshals are so important.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
If you can talk to the TV people about, like maybe zoom in on the Marshals every once in a while.
I'll mention it. Okay. I'll write them a special note and I'll slide it to them next time we have a meeting.
Perfect.
I think it was episode 1. I told my claim to fame story. I don't think it actually made TV, but what was awesome was when Bernard Longer came up in the final group and had bombed his drive near the crosswalk. As we opened the crosswalk, the ball was so close to where the spectators were walking. I'm like, I need to go over and stand over it like a mother hen to make sure nobody messes with it. Which, by the way, did you guys see that video today of like a spectator picking up a ball?
Yeah, I did see that. That was hilarious.
So that's what I was worried about. I was worried about somebody's going to pick up the ball. But the TV guy, whoever he was, it wasn't live, but I did hear him say back to the booth or whatever. They were like, "Oh yeah, we're Longer's walking up here, and we've got a great Marshal here standing over the ball, making sure nobody messes with it." And so that's all I needed. That's it. Whether it made it on TV or not. That's all I needed.
By the way, Kelsey, that was the greatest moment in John's life ever.
Yeah, it was by far.
Yeah, it was.
Did Bernard at least say thank you?
He didn't say anything to me. The caddy said thank you.
Okay, good.
But Bernard was locked in. I mean,
it was the
final round. He was
on your deathbed. You will receive total consciousness.
I did talk about the rule book on this before, right? Should you talk to the players, kind of thing. So I mean,
yeah. I do believe that he remembered that, and he will, if he's still alive when I'm on my deathbed, he will make a point to come to my deathbed and give me a thank you.
Yeah,
100%. I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, Kelsey, we do have a question for you specifically about the tournament. This is maybe you'll be able to answer this, maybe you won't.
Technical,
you were looking at the official list that is on like who is coming to the tournament, and we noticed one very important person that was not on the list, and that's Steve Alker.
Yes.
Is he not returning?
Not for this year, and it is merely a personal reason. His daughter is graduating from high school. On that weekend. Yeah. He did actually try. He tried between tee times and practice rounds to see if he could make it work, and it just wouldn't work out. So
I think that happened to Bernard Longer a few years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
It does sound familiar.
This is some real inside the ropes knowledge, though. I will have to say.
Yeah.
So,
we were looking at it.
Our listeners are the first to know.
You heard it here first.
He's top on the Charles Schwab Cup standings, and he's going to be I think he'll be in the lead group going off tomorrow.
Yes.
It's Mitsubishi Electric, and he wasn't on the list. I was like, what is going on? He can't. So like Steve Stricker is going to be the latest defending champion, but he's never played Harbor Shores, which is kind of interesting.
He's not. Yes. So we're actually really kind of excited for that. Steve Stricker is new to the Champions Tour. So it's kind of exciting to have a newer pro, never played Harbor Shores come and try to defend his title, right?
Yeah, that'll be cool. Another question, technical question. Okay, so last year's tournament ended, if you recall, in a playoff between Stricker and Harrington. You were probably there.
Yep.
What is the protocol for a playoff hole for getting marshals back? Like, how do you get? What do you guys do?
What's the plan in general, and then how do you get the marshals to?
And secondarily, how do we get to be on that hole?
Yeah, and that's a great question. All of those questions are great.
Yeah, there's like 6 questions in there.
So prior to, leading up to all of this, our chief championship officer, Kerry Hagg, you may have heard his name, thrown around throughout the years. He will come to the course. He basically lays out, he does what we call a hole by hole, and he tells us exactly where on the hole a marshal needs to be placed. You probably see those hole by holes if you've taken a look at the captains. Yeah, the captain's manual.
We might modify it a little bit from that.
Yeah.
No.
So he will fill that out, and then in addition to all of that, he also places where leaderboards should be and all of that, and evac zones and all of that stuff. Included in that is a listing of what holes they will play and in what sequence if a tie is needed. So in Frisco, there was almost a second playoff. So basically the way that it happens is the first time they'll play 18 again. If they tie again and a playoff is again needed, they will go back to 17 and then play it 17, 18. Okay. So they do like a up to 4-time playoffs. And essentially just you go back
to 17.
Going back essentially. And those captains are aware that their holes could potentially be in a playoff. The great thing is Sunday afternoon, volunteers don't typically take off. Exactly. You usually have a crowd of people following. So it's very easy to rally the troops and get them back on course. Most of our captains, because they are aware of that, they have everybody's phone number. And when we say, okay, we're headed to hole 17, text everybody, and everybody kind of gets out there. We've never really had to actually pull other people, because even hole 16, hole 15, hole 14, all of those marshals have also started to follow the groups. So they end up going back out and just following the captain on whatever hole that the playoff is happening on. And those marshals usually tend to come in and fill in the gaps. So if you want to be a part of that, and if a playoff does happen, my recommendation would be to just hang out and keep following the group, last group.
Maybe we try to work hole 9 into it. Maybe hole 9 should be
to the captain, show off our form, and they'll pick us out of the crowd.
That's so right, Aaron. And Ryan, I would say you'd have to talk to Kerry Hagg about getting hole 9 as a playoff.
That's a little bit of right. I don't know if I have to help you out with like geography and geometry again, but that's a little bit of a walk from hole 18.
A little bit. We would have to. It would be a lot more volunteers because we'd have to then get player shuttles involved and all of that stuff.
I thought they were just afraid of hole 9. I thought they were like, they finish hole 9 and they're like, I don't ever want to have to play that hole again. And so they.
Do you
very intimidating?
I've always heard the golfers say they were intimidated by the marshals on hole 9, but.
Well, this is what I will say. I love how simple that is. It's like, hey, we'll just go play 18 again. And for the viewers who haven't been to Harbor Shore, 17 is right across the street. So it makes sense that they would go to 17 par 3 and then come to 18 again. Yep. And what you described, in fact, this group has done for the last few times. We love when it finishes through our hole. After taking a few pictures and this, that, and the other, we do go over to that area, 16, 17, 18. And awesome. Because that's where all the crowds are going. And when the final groups come through, we just ask the hole captains, you guys need any extra help anywhere? And usually works out.
The answer, I sure, is always yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not?
Mm-hmm.
I have a little off the cuff change direction here a little bit question for you. So so I'm curious what the Marshall gear looks like for this year's championship. Do you have any idea like what the gear looks like this year?
The gear as in like your uniform?
Like,
Yeah.
see, I'm wearing my 2022 Marshall
Yeah.
Who's
volunteer
sponsored
issue
by?
jacket.
Have you recently read your volunteer manual?
There it is. There it is. Well played, Kelsey.
I
Well
told these
played.
guys last time, I swear to God, there's an email out there that describes this year's swag.
Yes. So
then tell us about it.
the general volunteer uniform is navy. The polos are navy. The men's wear is a quarter zip, and it'll be a gray. Yeah, it'll be a gray quarter zip. The ladies is a full zip jacket, and that'll be white. Why we put white on a golf course, I don't know, but it looks nice. The
Who's in the white?
captains, say again,
Who's in the white?
women,
Oh, the
the women's jacket.
Okay.
Just like that.
Our
Everyone else has. They all have, so navy polo shirt. And
navy
then
polo shirts. Yep.
gray quarter zip for the men, and white is full zip for the ladies. And then
Yep.
what else?
The Marshall captains are in like a really pretty sky blue. And then the chairs will be in maroon, green, and black.
Nice. Is it that? What brand is it?
Nike again.
Thank you. Have you guys thought about Lululemon? Perhaps, maybe. I'm just thinking maybe next time we look at upgrade the gear
brand guy.
maybe, but
He's a
throwing
diva.
throwing ideas out.
So that's all done through our partner development team, which is at the home of the PGA. They kind of, so with Nike was a 3-year commitment. And so this will be the last year. So we will be switching
There you go.
uniform brands. I don't know, nor do I have any inside information as to who the next one will be, but that's a great suggestion. I do love a good Lululemon.
Shall see.
Yeah.
All right.
So does Smeef. Well, holy cow, I feel like we've way overextended our welcome because we told you maybe 15, 20 minutes. You've stayed on with us for 25 already. I know I just have one kind of parting question. Maybe the other guys do as well. And again, huge thanks. Have you had an opportunity to check out some of the Marshall diaries?
Yes, when you first reached out to me. Yeah, when you first reached out to me. So I didn't know about the podcast. So I have not listened to your podcast yet, but I've watched all of the videos, all of your YouTube videos. And I got to say, they get better every year.
Oh, yeah.
Like every championship, they for sure get better. And I would have to say 2022 is my favorite.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Good times.
Yeah.
Well, we, as you know, I mean, because we've been in communication for a while, we love the event. We love the championship. We embrace it big time. We've got a whole schedule of events here at the Marshal Shack.
I'm excited.
I think I teased you with the fact that we got a live band on Saturday night.
Yeah.
So I'll make sure I mention it to Brandon as well and the crew, but spread the word. We'd love to have you guys over. It'll be a good time for sure.
Yes.
We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, hopefully there's no reason for me to have to stay any later than I need to on Saturday so I can make it over there for the live band. That'll be awesome.
Yeah, we love, especially since after the cut, things finished a little bit earlier. Late nights on Thursday and Friday, but yeah, Saturday night after things wrap up, we'll make sure we get as many of the volunteers and the PGA crew over to the Marshal Shack and have some fun telling stories about the 2024 Senior PGA Championship.
Good. I'm excited.
Yeah. Guys, anything else for Kelsey?
No, Kelsey, really appreciate your time. I know you're a busy lady these times of year and getting ready for the tournaments. I mean, we're a month away. It's coming up quick, and really appreciate all that you do.
Don't forget.
Yeah, somebody said 30 days, and I went, ooh, there's still so much to do.
Appreciate it as well. And don't forget to come by and pick up your Hole 9 patch as well. I'm just saying, if you wanted to put a patch on your shirt or something like that, it may be a really fun idea. So grab your Hole 9 iron-on patch.
Okay. All right. I will, for sure. That's awesome.
We'll
I don't
keep
know
you
if I'll
in the loop
be.
with all the Marshal Shack swag. We were talking about swag earlier, merch. Yeah. We'll have our Marshal Shack merch. Make sure you get your VIP pass, have your badge.
Do I need to send you a headshot for my credential, my VIP?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, maybe.
Wait, okay, this is a totally random question.
Great idea.
Is there legit like headshots on this year's pass or like credentials?
Yes, it's not. It doesn't have to be a professional headshot, but yes, it'll be personalized with your photo.
Because you were trying to get AJ's photo,
Yeah.
which, by the way, I emailed back with the number. If he Houdini's on you, and by the way, AJ's probably listening, and so he plays hard to get, but I can get you a photo easily.
I can confirm that we did receive a photo from AJ, so we are good to go there. Thank you, AJ.
Thank you, AJ. Well, that's really cool. So yeah, that's a great idea. Maybe we'll do that for this year's VIP passes. We'll personalize them.
That is a good
headshots.
Really good.
I love it.
All right.
Thanks, Kelsey.
Thanks a lot,
you so much,
Kelsey.
guys.
All
This is
right.
awesome.
Have a great evening.
Thank you so much.
All right.
You're
We'll see you.
awesome. Holy cow.
Oh, that was
That's
great.
fantastic. That's
She's
the
good.
real deal.
Some good
Yeah.
questions. Yeah. Good
Some
discussion.
good questions, some good conversation. She's awesome.
Yeah. That's why she's the boss. That's why she's in charge. That's right. All right, boys. What else we got?
Wrapping it up, I think. Man, we're at an hour.
We're at an hour. People are sick of listening to us by this point. Johnny, you got anything else? You're looking through your notes.
I'm looking through my notes. I did kind of back off the PGA talk a little bit, and I'll just ungeared. Last time I had the Muppets. This time, this is a little bit of a stretch because I'm gonna try to use this shirt I'm wearing as a lead into some. What you see the Arcadia Bluffs?
Arcadia Bluffs.
Nice.
Arcadia Bluffs, a fantastic golf course in northern Michigan. Probably one of the top golf courses in the world.
Most definitely. But what it reminds me of is it's not necessarily a Marshal Shack specific golf outing, but our golf outing for the DBSS outing every year. We had a milestone moment last weekend. Smith, you want to tell everybody about big decision that was made and some direction for this year's outing?
Well, we have locked down and secured, maybe not quite yet, Traverse City.
Traverse City is the location.
Ooh, going to be great looking spot. I don't know if we know the courses yet, but great looking spot downtown TC. And I think, and we have all 11 out of 12. 12
we have one we have a
holdout.
missing man formation. We if you can hold up like 10 fingers and somebody put one more in there, we're missing one. We need 12.
Missing
And
one.
Jimmy's Johns. If you're out there listening, respond to the group text. I'm wondering if he's got either another number or he's been on some sort of house arrest that doesn't allow him to use his phone.
That might be the case. That might be
That could be the case.
We might have to go back to J9. Yeah, no, never mind. Bad idea.
Never mind. Horrible idea. But yeah, I mean, it was a big milestone moment because we've been wrestling with do we go back to Arcadia, which again, I'm wearing the shirt. Like we've done this every other year thing.
Back
Arcadia
to the
1 year, somewhere else. Okay, back and forth. So but history tells us this year we should go back to Arcadia. But we were wrestling with Arcadia and small rural cabin-ish thing, or do we go to a town like we went to Saugatuck last year, Traverse City this year, where we can have access to some of the festivities that a downtown offers, and maybe compromise a little bit on the golf.
Yeah, it should be good. It should be another successful year. I'm looking forward to.
Agreed. All right, boys.
Hey, but we got to focus. We got 30 days.
30 days. Everybody get ready.
Yep.
Keep your calisthenics going.
Buckle up.
And encourage those other marshals that haven't done this before to just be ready.
I know 30 days, all the marshals I'm sure will listen to this podcast. And, I do also want to call out, we've been raising the bar on the guests every time. We've gone from no-show Conway to we have Benny on. He's a great individual, but, as far as the bar goes, I mean, he is a rookie.
Yeah.
And then we got not just one, but two veterans on Marshal Shack. And then, of course, today, somebody from the actual PGA staff. So where do we go from here?
I think we go straight to the top. Let's go with Paul Broadhurst. I'll give him a call.
Give Paulie a call and
He's not doing anything tonight. Maybe I'll just give him a call tonight.
Yeah, give him a call right now.
Text him. Just text him.
Just text him. All right, boys. Good work out of you guys.
All right. Nice work.
Have a great day.
Stop recording.
Yeah.